Okay, so there seems to be a confusion on the article review assessment. I'll just go through the article review criteria or the rubric so that you'll be able to understand what is expected from the article review itself. So if you look at your marking rubric, you would see there are about 5 components or 5 boxes here. Number one is out of the first box is to test the level of understanding, which is 5 marks. Now, what are you supposed to do? This is the criteria here. What you're supposed to do. You are supposed to clearly explain the main ideas and purpose of the article after reading the article. Okay? So the article here is titled Corruption, a Plea for More Analysis, moving from big words to precise meaning. Okay, I have already uploaded the article. So your first task is to clearly explain the main idea and the purpose of the article. So after that, if I see that you've clearly explained the main purpose of the article, identifying key terms, arguments, you will receive 5 marks. And then secondly is analyzing argument. In that way, you are expected to break down the author's main points. Okay, what's the difference between the first task and the second task? The first task, you are to generally define and explain the main ideas of the article. Okay, the article might talk about corruption. So what is the intention of the article and what is it talking about? Now, secondly is that you are going to, after talking about those themes or the main purpose or the main idea, you're going to break down what the author really argued about. So what is the author's argument here? Now, there's a difference between explaining broadly the main purpose of the article and explaining the argument of the article. So the argument itself is different from the purpose or the main ideas of the article. So obviously, for example, this paper is talking about corruption. So that's the main idea. But what is the author's argument here? Is the author blaming the institution for the corruption or the politicians for the corruption? So that forms the author's main argument. After this, you are to, and this is the third aspect of it, which is 3 marks, you have to apply these ideas here. What are the ideas that you find out in the article here? So, for example, give an example of these ideas here. Connect the ideas, like I said here, connect the ideas to the main points, to any real life examples that you are familiar with. If you do that well, then you will receive 3 marks. And then secondly, you are to critically evaluate the article. That is 4. So in the 4th aspect of it, you are to talk about your view, okay, your own words, not more or less your opinions, your thoughts after going through the article. So you're talking now after you present the ideas, the main ideas, the author's argument, and now you are going to talk about those 2 ideas and on author's argument, but your perspective. I would like to see your perspective. If you do that well, you will receive 3 marks. Let's see. The next one is critically evaluating the article. So here you have to give your opinion on whether the author's argument is strong or weak. So following on the previous point given, after applying these ideas, you have to critically evaluate. You have to see whether the author's argument is strong or is weak in terms of where you see it. Whether you see the article as being focused too much on human behavior or focused too much on institutions, for that matter. Is it focused too much on people in a state of human nature prone to corruption, or is it focused too much on institutions that gives, let's say, grounds for or rooms for corruption? Now you would see. So what I would like you to do is that you give whether the author's argument or opinion is strong or is weak in the overall review. Okay, and lastly is basically the organizational structure. So you would see organizational structure is 3 points. So here, what you do here is you go through in your article review. In your article review itself, you are to at least attempt to answer the 5 broad categories here. I will see whether the article, what you demonstrate in the article, captures the 5 broad categories here. So The important guidance to this article here is found in these boxes here. This box, because the boxes gives you an indication or idea, or gives you the pathway in which you go about after reading the article, and you go about in trying to answer or review the article itself. So you are to focus on trying to answer the issues that are given here. Okay, the first issue is you are to clearly explain the purpose of the article itself. Discuss the author's main argument. Look at the example, applying these ideas. You evaluate the articles. You evaluate the article position. Okay, that's the correct word. And then lastly, your structure. So that is a general breakdown on how to go complete article review task. Thank you.